5 best-selling top 10, was it, in Penguin? Yeah.
Yeah,
Penguin Magic. Is that right? Yeah.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit then. Sorry.
Oh, so it's the top 5. Sorry, what am I saying? You were 5 times in the top 10 of Penguin Magic in 2 years.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's a pretty nice record to have.
It's not. It's not bad. Not bad. It could be worse. But
so,
yeah, 2 years. Yeah, within 2 years.
Nice. I had a quick look at all the kind of stuff you come out with. I know there's a few kind of demos and promos on YouTube and things like that. But it's just very impressive, the sheer number of tricks that you've come up with so far. So how does it work? Your kind of creative mind, like, do you just come up with things daily? Do you see things and work things out as you go?
That's a good question. I can't really explain it. It's just, I guess it's like subconscious.
Have you always had a sort of mind where you can kind of work out things like that?
Yeah, I've always been into sort of puzzles and, looking at things, I guess, logistically. And yeah, it's difficult to explain, but, you might watch a film or something and subconsciously something within that just suddenly sparks an idea, and then you go away and start working on something. So it's difficult to explain. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult. I've dabbled in a bit of kind of creating my own stuff every now and then, and usually I take something very similar and then I think about how I could push it a little bit further.
Right.
But yours are very kind of original, which I really like. That's good stuff.
What sort of stuff do you create? Is it card tricks, coin tricks?
So I'm more into mentalism.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I'm more into kind of mind reading. Those are my inspirations. What about yourself? Are you more into card magic? I see a lot of them are card tricks and things like that, but with a kind of twist to it.
Yeah, I mean, card tricks, probably, I guess what I would say would be sort of my number one go-to prop would be cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to do sort of a mix of everything. I like to do a bit of card magic, coin magic, some geek magic as well. And mentalism.
Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, just a wide range, but I would say card tricks definitely is probably more my
sort of forte.
Yeah, forte. Yeah, but definitely into sort of just about everything. So yeah.
Okay. I saw the I can't remember what it's called now. It's you did a coin vanish, very very smooth, very clean. That's probably my favorite from the ones that I've seen that you've done.
Okay,
do you have one that you like to perform?
I was just trying to think the one you're speaking about. Was it Gone? Is it called Gone?
That's it. Yeah, Gone. That's the one. Yeah.
So again, that trick there, that just I saw this quote which basically just said, life is like, I think it said life is like money or something like that. Or life is like a coin. You can spend it any way you wish, but once it's gone, it's gone.
Okay.
And I was like, that's quite a nice quote. And then that just sparked the idea of basically doing a coin vanish and then using that as sort of the story to go with it. So it would be sort of like just a quick opener, just to sort of set a tone, or if you want to do something that's maybe a bit more, it's storytelling, but it's a very quick sort of story to try and set a tone, depending on what it is that you're trying to set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. So you've obviously got a very kind of creative and inventive mind for this stuff. Do you perform much yourself? Do you do kind of tables and things like that, or do you perform for friends?
I mean, to be honest, it's mostly just sort of friends, and also like if I'm just out and I might be showing my friends something, and then someone else comes up, oh, you're doing magic, and you show them a few things. I've been offered quite a few times to go and perform, doing like tables and things like that, and I've always just turned it down because I don't know. I guess it's well, for me, I'm more interested in the sort of the creating side of magic rather than the actual going out and performing gigs and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, mostly friends, but I mean, I tend to carry a deck of cards with me pretty much anywhere I go. So sometimes, well, just the other week actually, I was in my local town, and there was a guy there who was busking on the streets doing card magic, and so I went up to him and he showed me a few tricks, and he was pretty good. And then I pulled out my deck of cards and started showing him some tricks. And yeah, so it's just kind of, I guess, I would say I perform in sort of opportune moments rather than actually sort of going out, getting gigs and so on.
So wherever it takes you, basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the nice things about it, is that it's a skill that you can't, not everything obviously, but some tricks you can just have it, and once you know how to do it, you can take it with you everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just ready to go. I love that sort of stuff where you learn it and it's there and you can do it wherever you want, basically.
Yeah. So nice. I was going to ask, I think you said on your previous interview, which I saw, that you don't perform so much but yourself, but when you do it, is it more mentalism sort of thing?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So more kind of, I do a bit of cold reading. I got really into my cold reading stuff. And then I just kind of try and take inspiration from Darren Brown, people like Luke Germain. I don't know if you
Luke Germain.
Yeah, really cool stuff. I really like his stuff.
And Darren Brown, of course.
Of course.
Like, I think any UK magician is Darren Brown. In fact, I got his Tricks of the Mind book just there. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, lovely. So what about yourself, man? Do you have anyone that's really inspired you? Like, I'm guessing you really like your card magicians and stuff. So do you have any?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Darren Brown, he used to, before he sort of did his TV work and stuff, he was very much, well, I guess you would say a card magician, although he did other stuff. Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry, it just cut out there. I'm not sure what that was.
We're back. Lost a bit of connection there. But so Darren Brown, say a lot of his early stuff. He brought out a video, just trying to remember the name of it. Was it The Devil's Picture Book or Devil's Playbook or something like that? Where he teaches basically, I think it's about 7 or 8 different card routines. And when you get to know Darren Brown from his TV work, you just think, mind reading, cold reading, and that sort of stuff. And so to see him with a deck of cards is just unbelievable. He's fantastic. So yeah, definitely Darren Brown.
Yeah, and he's really good as well, isn't he, with the deck of cards?
He's incredible. He did. I remember he did a trick on. It was a TV special he was doing, and it was, I think it was like the Great Art Robbery or something like that, where he got basically all these old people to go and steal a painting, and it's just a short snippet within the program where he basically performs a card trick. where he's basically just explaining to them the idea of misdirection, and it's just he's fantastic. So definitely Darren Brown, David Blaine, another one who I really enjoy watching. But more so with David Blaine, it's more I like his sort of geek magic, the whole frog from mouth and sewing his mouth shut and
The kind of
like
really obscure stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's really unique. And Brian Brushwood, Brian Brushwood.
Yeah.
And obviously, I would say top four would be Darren Brown, David Blaine, Brian Brushwood, and Penn and Teller. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Penn and Teller, that's a nice one. I like their kind of grand scale illusions and things like that. That's good stuff.
Oh, they're just brilliant.
So, what's the kind of, in terms of what we're talking about with the being like 5 times in the top 10 bestsellers, what does that entail? Like, how many sales do you have to meet a certain number of sales? Have you just got to kind of outdo everyone else who's selling at the time, or?
Well, I don't. Well, I suppose in a way it's down to a number of sales, but I think it's updated sort of like with Penguin. I believe it's updated every hour. So
okay,
you could go on Penguin and see something's in the top 10, and then 1 hour later something else is taking its spot. So yeah, you're basically outdoing everybody else with sales, but it is as I'm aware, it's every hour that it's updated. So it's basically the top 10 is the most sales, or it's the top 10 tricks that have sold the most at that current time that you're looking at the website. If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I see.
That's how I understand it anyway. So.
Okay. Oh, cool. So do you think that, could you see yourself as releasing tricks full time? I don't know if that's what you're doing now, whether you're working, or could you see it being a full-time profession to invent and create and sell, basically?
Well, I mean, I would say just over a year ago, it pretty much was my full-time job, if you like. I want to call it that, although it doesn't feel like it. So yeah, now it's more sort of I don't know how you put it. I wouldn't say hobby, but it's sort of like just a secondary job now. Basically, a bit of backstory. I recently purchased a house with my girlfriend. So obviously that's like a big cost, buying a house.
Yeah.
So, I went and got, if you like, a regular job, which is like Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 type thing. And then obviously I'm still doing the magic as well. So I think I'll probably just continue to do both, like, alongside each other, really.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, good stuff. I'm intrigued to know what work you're in. I can picture you as sort of like an engineer, maybe working things out in the mechanical world as well as the magical world.
It's not too far off. I basically work. The job description is security and maintenance.
Okay.
So there is a little. It's not really engineering as such, but there is maintenance that's involved. So it's
that's probably how it helps to kind of think in that certain way to help work things out, which is quite interesting. I quite like hearing people's backstories, because I think a lot of magicians who are like inventors and stuff have a very similar kind of background to that as well.
Definitely.
So you said you've moved in with your girlfriend recently.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any sort of romantic gestures with magic tricks with her? Did she ask you to perform at all for her, or?
Well, I do normally perform my tricks for her, but
is she sort of number one critic?
Well, yeah, she's not a magician herself, but she has a very uh, logistical mind as well. So normally she figures out how they're done. So uh, sometimes it's a bit frustrating, but I did I did actually show her a trick this morning, and she wasn't. She said, I don't know how it's done. So I was like, well, that's good then.
That's always a good one, yeah.
In terms of like performing tricks for her, like I guess in a romantic way, I released a trick that was called Love Tail,
Okay.
and if you look at it's on Penguin, but if you were to look at the like the product image, like the poster for it, the L at the beginning of the word love and the E at the end of the word tail, they're different colours to the rest of the letters because her initials are LE.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
something
that
that,
kind of
like that's in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Oh, very nice. And did she appreciate that? Hopefully.
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah. So,
Good
yeah.
stuff. What I can't remember if I asked already, but what trick are you kind of most proud of? Either something you've released or something you've performed and it's gone really well, or
Most proud of. Um, it's a difficult one. Hmm. Well, I released a trick called Satori, which was the first trick of mine to go into the top 10. That one I was especially proud of because when I came up with it, I filmed a quick performance of it and I sent it to Brian Brushwood, basically just to ask him what he thought about it. And he responded by saying, "Wow, I have no idea how you did that." So that was like, if you like, I don't know, it made me feel sort of quite proud of that one, especially because obviously looking up to him to have him then basically watching. Yeah, I got no idea how it's done.
it's
Was
always nice to it's always nice to kind of it's nice to fool friends and family, but it's always extra satisfying to fool a magician as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then, as I say, that was the first trick of mine to go into the top 10 as well. So it's kind of got like a special meaning to me, that one. I think most proud of in terms of like during the whole creation period, I would probably say it's my trick called Bookworm, which
Bookworm.
yeah, it's like a classic book test, but it's done with a dictionary and a deck of cards.
Okay.
So, in fact, I think, yeah, I actually do have it here. So basically, you have this massive deck of cards, which is like this. I don't know if you can see. It's got all different numbers on it,
Okay. Yeah.
and each card is different, and there's like loads of them that you give out. And basically, the cards are shuffled. A spectator selects a card. They look at the card, and they basically just choose one of the numbers on the card. Then you give them a dictionary. Okay.
Okay.
They turn to the page that they're just thinking of, and then they look at the top or the first word on that page. You never see which card they pick. They never tell you which number they're thinking of. Yet you can tell them what word they're looking at in the dictionary. So, that's quite good. It's obviously more along the lines of mentalism.
Yeah, I really like that. That sounds good to me.
It was, yeah. I was quite sort of proud of myself when I came up with the method. And again, I sent it across to, do you know Justin Miller?
Oh yeah, I was Justin. Yeah.
So I sent it across to Justin Miller just to kind of get his thoughts on it, and he was just like, "Wow, that's amazing! I love you, you bastard." So
good stuff. Good stuff. And is that one out? That one's released as well?
Yeah, that was I think that was like February 2017, I think that came out. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been out for a while or so, but yeah, I would say between Bookworm and Satori, those two are probably my favorites. Yeah.
Have you got any other ones coming up in the pipeline in future? Any we should know about and keep our eyes open for?
Yeah, I was actually earlier today. I was filming a tutorial for a new trick that's going to be coming out, but I haven't got a name for it yet. So
okay.
I can't really say what it is because I haven't got a name for it yet. But the idea is that it's a card trick, and you know how sometimes, like a spectator selects a card, you put the card back in the, or they put the card back in the deck. You maybe cut the deck a few times, and then the idea of basically cutting directly to that card is usually done. As you probably know, you might have a pinky break, you might be using short cards, you might have a crimp, something like that. And basically, I wanted to come up with a way to do that trick, but without using any breaks, any short cards, any crimps. Things or anything like that. So yeah, that's why I was filming this afternoon, but I haven't got, so I don't know.
What to call it as of yet. Very interesting though. Okay. And when can we expect to see that, do you reckon?
I would say probably within the next couple of weeks, I would think.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, there's that. I'm also working with, do you know someone called Blake Brenneman?
Does ring a bell, Blake, yeah.
He's behind the, I'm going to get the name wrong now. He helped design the, is it Revelation deck of cards?
Oh, right, okay.
I think it's Revelation. I've probably got that wrong. But anyway, I'm working with him. He's basically come up with a fantastic routine. It's a poker-based routine, and it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm working with him because he wants me to basically present the trick, so film the tutorial. But it's his trick, so it's not mine. But that will also be coming out probably within the next couple of months.
Okay. Very
and a book. Well, I'm writing a book as well, magic book. So
is that kind of aimed at sort of beginners, or is that advanced artistry, or is that?
It's sort of aimed at everybody, really. So there'll be stuff in there for beginners. So basically, going over how to shuffle a deck of cards. Very sort of basic stuff. But then there'll also be stuff in there that will be for the more sort of advanced magicians, like tricks that use a lot of sleight of hand. There's going to be stuff in there talking about like the psychology of magic and how you can use that to enhance an effect and so on. That's going to be, hopefully it'll be out this year, but it's quite a big project, so I don't know exactly when, but it'll be this year. Yeah.
Okay, no, good stuff. I've kind of got a book in the pipeline for mentalism stuff at the moment.
Oh, brilliant.
So maybe we should have a discussion session at some point and just sit down with some beers maybe and go through them.
Absolutely. I should also say that there are other beers available. Not
just in case. So that's pretty good. That's coming out pretty soon then.
Yeah. Well, the card trick that I was working on this morning, which is where you can basically cut directly to their card without having to use any short cards, no crimps, no pinky breaks, or anything like that. That should be in 2 weeks. Blake's poker routine within the next couple of months, and then the magic book. I don't know when, but sometime this year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, books they takes a while, so
And,
we'll let you off for that one. One of the things I was going to ask you, which I ask quite a lot to people, it's quite a difficult one, but so I don't know if you'll have had this performing more for friends and that, but have you ever had like a really awkward encounter, or have you ever had where a spectator knows instantly what you've done, or they've seen a move, or you've been rumbled and it's some sort of awkward encounter like that? Have you ever had anything like that happen?
Well, as I say, normally if I show my girlfriend a trick, she knows straight away how it's done. I can remember, it's going back quite a few years now, and it was a very basic trick as well. I actually, although it's basic, I can't actually remember like the setup for it. But essentially, you shuffle the cards, and you shuffle it so that when you then turn the cards over, it sort of goes black card, red card, black card, red card, black, red, black, red, black, red. And I'd basically come up, let's say this is years ago, but I came up with this idea that I would say that I would shuffle the cards, and that if any cards weren't in that order, so if two black cards came up together when it should be black, red, I would basically just cut those cards up. And it was like a really expensive deck of cards as well. So the premise was, I'm potentially sacrificing this really expensive deck of cards if the trick goes wrong. And so I've been practicing it like days beforehand, sort of thing. Got there, put the scissors on the table, explained that it was quite an expensive deck of cards, and explained everything. There's like a few false cuts and then a shuffle, and then I started turning the cards over, and it was going black, red, black, red, black, red, and then I got about just over halfway through the deck, and two red cards turned up next to each other. So I was thinking, well, I have to cut the cards up, because I said that if any come up, I'll cut them up. So I did. I just went with it. I just cut the cards up, knowing that I was like, this is really expensive deck of cards.
It's so painful.
And then obviously where I messed up the shuffle, not like, I think it was a few cards after that, it was like two black cards turned up next to each other, so I had to cut those up. And then a bit further down, it was like another two red cards were next to each other. So I ended up cutting up probably about 6 or 7 cards from the deck. And then at the end, I can just remember people looking at me like, well, what's the trick? Because
you
just cut up cards. And I think I mean, I say this was years ago, before I'd really gotten into making sure I had outs and things like that. So I think I just ended it by saying something along the lines of, I can't remember what it was now, but I think I just said something like, this is a demonstration of how far a magician will go to try and skill or something like that.
Good recovery, yeah.
So
on the plus side, you can use them as gaffs, those cards. Make some gaffs out of them, maybe.
But yeah, apart from that, I think, to be honest, I think because of that, I then went away and made sure, right, I have to make sure that if something goes wrong, I can turn it into something else. I kind of felt like, have you ever seen that clip of the masked magician where he goes to do the trick where the spectator basically cuts them 4 aces, and then he messes it up, or he uses the wrong deck or something, and he turns over the first card, it's an ace, and then like the next one isn't, and he checks the next one, he's like, oh, you've done something very interesting here. It's like, oh yeah, he didn't have an out, and then he gathers up the cards and like puts all the aces next to each other, but he puts 3 of the aces next to each other, and then like a 5 of diamonds or something, and then the final ace 5 cards down from that. It's like, no, look, you did something special. Ace, ace, ace. That's a 5. That's not an ace, but we'll count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks at the 5th card just in case that's the ace. No, it's not. There you go. So I kind of felt like him in that moment. But yeah, you've always got to have an out, and I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good advice for sure. I mean, I think at least one point in every kind of magician's career or like performance career, you're gonna have things go not quite to plan. So it always helps to have a backstory or some sort.
Well, yeah. I was going to say, like, with yourself doing sort of like more mentalism and cold reading, what sort? I mean, is there an out when you're doing that sort of stuff, or?
Well, see, with cold reading, it's quite easy to come up with outs,
Right.
purely because the whole premise of cold reading is bullshitting, basically, the whole time. So you've got to, you know, you give these general statements that, I mean, you understand the kind of idea behind cold reading, but you giving these kind of general statements, if it's a no, you can kind of turn it into something else.
Right.
So that's kind of the way that you out if you're cold reading, which is quite handy. And then, you know, with other mentalism tricks, if anything goes wrong, you know, things like a word reveal or a number reveal or something like that, then it's quite handy to also go back into cold reading. So if one part goes wrong, you can say, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, by the way, that probably says something about your personality, and then you can go on into, you know, oh,
Yeah.
are you in kind of engineering by any chance or something like that? You know, all that kind of stuff.
So a bit earlier on in this interview, it did sort of cut out. I think you were talking about your influences, and I heard you say Darren Brown, but do you like Bob Cassidy or?
Oh yeah, all the classics. So you know, Agrippa and things like that. I don't know if you've read any of those, like 13 Steps to Mentalism, things like that.
I tend to read a lot of sort of older books, like from sort of the 1800s sort of thing. And to be fair, most of them that I do read are on card tricks. But I have seen, well, was it Richard? Was it Richard Osterland or something?
Oh, Osterland, yeah. The blindfold king, basically, yeah.
And I saw he brought out something called like 13 Steps to Mentalism, but it's based on an old book, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, there's quite a few different sort of variations, I think, really. But yeah,
okay.
that's always a classic, really.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
What about kind of how you first started then? How old were you when you sort of started thinking about getting into magic and inventing stuff?
Wow. I mean, the classic story, I think, with most magicians is, you know, they were 5, 6 years old, and their granddad showed them a trick, or they saw a trick being performed. For me, although my granddad was, he wasn't a magician, but he did enjoy. He knew a few card tricks and a few, like he knew the trick where you like in a restaurant, you put like a salt shaker on the table and a 5p or something under it, napkin over the top, and you say you're going to make the coin disappear, and the salt shaker ends up disappearing. Yeah, little basic like that. But really, I always enjoyed magic. Like, I used to watch, you know, a lot of Darren Brown, obviously, on TV, a lot of David Blaine on TV. But really, it wasn't until Brian Brushwood came out with Scam Store on YouTube that I suddenly, you know, started thinking, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Like, you know, when they explain how it's done. And yeah, so really, I would say
That
probably
sort of sparked your interest.
yeah, I would say it was probably only about maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So not really, not really that long ago. But yeah, I'm always interested in magic, but only really in the last 5-6 years, taking my interest in magic to the point of actually starting to learn magic myself, and then from that, creating. Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's funny that it's Scam School, because I remember watching religiously watching Scam School when it was coming out, when it first kind of hit the scene. But yeah, great program, and one of your tricks was actually featured on Scam School as well, didn't it?
Yeah, that was. I was. I think what it was is I was coming up with a load of ideas for tricks, and I kept on sending them to Sean Dunn, who is kind of, I think, like the head of deciding which tricks go on to Penguin and which don't, sort of thing. And I must have been emailing him sort of once a week or something with a brand new trick. And he kept on saying no, basically. He's like, no, we're not releasing that. That's garbage, that sort of thing. And then there was another website as well. I can't remember which one it was now. Was Theory 11 or something?
Oh yeah, Theory 11.
I think it was Theory 11. And I sent them a few tricks and didn't hear anything back. And so, as I was a fan of Scam School anyway, and I used to watch that. Well, I still do watch it, but used to watch it like every Wednesday, sort of thing. And so I thought, well, if I send a trick to Brian Brushwood and tell him that we can use it in the show, then maybe that will help me. I can then go back to Penguin and say, here's a trick I've done that was used on Scam School, and here's like another trick. So it's a way of trying to basically, previously I was going to Penguin and I was basically a nobody to them. And I was hoping that if they used one of my tricks on Scam School, then I could go back and say, well, I'm no longer a complete nobody, because nobody
right.
this trick. So I sent this trick to Brian Brushwood. He loved it, and he was like, "Yeah, we'll feature it on the show. Absolutely, I love it." And so they did. And I remember when it first came out, I was like checking the comments, seeing what other people thought of it, and everyone seemed to like it. And it was a good trick. It's basically a spectator selects a card, and then somebody else who's not you is looking. They're looking away the whole time, or they're blindfolded. Doesn't matter. And then somebody selects a card, and then not you, but the person next to you or on the other side of the room is able to tell what card the spectator selected. So, and it was really good. And I remember thinking afterwards, I wish I could release that, but obviously now it's on Scam School. It's like, well, it's there for free, so I can't release it.
See, yeah, that's a whole lot of exposure, isn't it? So
well, yeah, the classic
could have been
argument.
an instant bestseller there.
I'm very grateful to Brian Brushwood anyway. He's given me, we've spoken a lot in emails and stuff. He's given me a lot of great tips and advice. And I've sent him, I think there's about 3 or 4 other tricks of mine on Scam School that they've used since then, which obviously I've given him permission to do so. And yeah, he's great. And I think he's one of those people that doesn't take himself too seriously. And
okay.
He's just very fun, which is what magic should be, really. Fun.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, having a job like that, you probably, if you're producing YouTube videos and stuff like that as well, it's pretty interesting. That. Have you ever thought about going into YouTube yourself, or?
Well,
you've got a few videos on there already, haven't you, or some demonstrations? Is it?
Yeah, those are. I think just other websites that are selling my stuff that they just put up on YouTube. So it's nothing I've actually put up myself. I don't think, anyway. I don't know. There's quite a few on there. There's normally sort of the same few that I see, and some of them I think are possibly, these sort of Chinese companies that basically take tricks. They buy them from Penguin or whatever, and then they sell them for like $2, and you never see any royalties for it. But yeah, YouTube. I think I probably wouldn't. It's not that I'm like against YouTube or anything like that, because obviously I started because of Scam School, which was on YouTube. But I don't know. I'm not really sure what I would do if I did have a YouTube channel. Yeah.
It's quite hard to kind of maintain. I think having to post every day or however often. Yeah.
Like I'm not really into sort of blogging and things like that. It's not really something I'd see stuff doing. So I guess if I if I were to have a YouTube channel, it would probably just be like trailers for the tricks that are already out there. So I mean, it wouldn't really be, wouldn't really be anything that would be like a series to keep on top of or people to watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of your current kind of like promoting your tricks or like marketing your tricks, is there any specific stuff you do, or does it kind of just naturally evolve and the kind of gravity that it does?
Well, I mean, I tend to whenever a new trick of mine comes out, I tend to post it on Facebook. There's a few different sort of magic groups that I'm a part of on Facebook, so I tend to just share it there and say this is out now kind of thing. But other than that, I don't really. That's about it really. It's just sort of Facebook, just a quick post. This is out now. Take a look if you want it. Buy it. If not, doesn't matter. So I'm not really. I'm not too fussed about like the marketing side of things.
And I think it does take away from the fun of it a bit if it becomes just about selling something.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's nice to know that
it's a nice bonus, yeah.
Yeah, like obviously 5 of my tricks have been in the top 10, which means a lot of people have bought them, which is nice. But for me, I'm not in it for the money. It's more just, I mean, it's another thing as well. It's like quite often people that buy tricks, they then complain about the cost of the trick, which to me is really bizarre, because I think if you go on Penguin and you watch a trailer for a trick and you see the trailer and you think, right, that's really good. I don't know how it's done. I want to learn how much does it cost. Okay, it costs $20. You then have to make the decision yourself. Do I want to spend $20 to learn that? So then you decide, I'm going to do that. You spend $20, you buy the trick, you learn it. I then feel very odd when people then say, "Oh, I paid $20 for that." Well, you didn't have to buy it,
Yeah.
It's up to you, sort of thing. So I always find that a bit odd. But like, I'm not in it for the money. But sometimes I do set the price of my tricks quite high, and that's mainly just because I only want people that are like really interested in learning it to actually buy it.
Willing to make that. Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like if I were to release a trick and put it at sort of between $30 and $40 or something, which is expensive for a trick, don't get me wrong, it's expensive for a trick. But if someone's that interested in learning that specific trick, then really the money's not important, because they're going to learn it and then they're going to make their money back by going out and doing gigs and things like that. So,
yeah, definitely. No, yeah, I completely agree with that.
Was it marketing or something?
Pardon, sorry?
I can't remember what the question was now. I started going on about people complaining about the price of tricks, but
just about releasing things and your marketing strategies and
right. Yes. Yeah. So basically, my marketing strategy is there is none really. As I say, it's more fun for me just to. I enjoy creating the trick, and I enjoy like filming the trailers and the explanation videos, and sort of designing the cover art for it and everything. And then pretty much once it's released, I do most of the time pretty much then just forget about it and start creating something else. So, I mean, obviously, if it makes a bit of money along the way, then I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, I just,
no worries.
like I said, I'll go on Facebook and I'll say this is out now. I'll post it in a few groups, and that's about it, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just end the recording here. I've just come to a close on my timing, unfortunately, but thank you very much for speaking with me. It's really interesting to kind of hear your point of view and to speak to someone who's so creative with the stuff that they have released. And we look forward to the new release coming out. So just let us know what it's called. So I can let everyone know as well.
Do you want to come up with a name for it now?
So just talk me through it again. The kind of main idea behind it is cutting the cards or finding where they've cut to, basically.
Yeah, so basically you cut directly to their chosen card, or you can use it to cut directly to a 4 of a kind, but there's no shortcut, no breaks, no crimps, no mark cards or anything like that.
Oh, okay. I quite like I mean, I don't know, but something like Sniper or something, you know, where it's like straight to the point, like to the target. That's what I'm thinking.
We'll call it that, Sniper. Yeah.
Something like that, anyway.
Yeah, like that's fine. Sniper coming soon. Penguin.
Good stuff, man. Well, thank you very much. It's really nice to speak to you.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah.
And like I said, we'll have to get together sometime and just have a brainstorm, I think.
Absolutely, definitely, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'll catch you again soon, okay?
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.